Imagine this. You wake up one morning and everything you've been avoiding, the pain, the regrets, the responsibilities, they're all waiting for you at the edge of your bed like old friends you thought you could ignore. You stare at the ceiling, wondering how life got so heavy, and here's the truth that hits you like cold steel. Life is suffering, not sometimes, not maybe, always, and unless you stand up, face it directly, and bring order to the chaos, it will bury you. The first truth we must confront is that suffering is the default condition of life. No one escapes pain, not the rich, not the powerful, not even the innocent. You will suffer because people die, because dreams break, because your body fails, because betrayal happens. This isn't a glitch in the system, this is the system. The question is not how do I avoid suffering, but rather what will I become in the face of it. You can use suffering to become bitter, resentful, and weak, or you can use it as fuel to become disciplined, courageous, and focused. You have that choice, but pretending suffering doesn't exist or numbing yourself through distraction only gives it more power over you. Before you try to fix the world, before you judge society or blame others, look around at your own life. Is your house in order? Is your mind cluttered with excuses? Is your body decaying from neglect? The path to strength begins with the smallest acts of responsibility. Make your bed, honor your commitments. Speak the truth, build the habits that restore order, because if you can't master the chaos in your own life, what business do you have trying to fix anything else? Getting your act together isn't about perfection, it's about progress rooted in discipline and honesty. Control what you can control and watch how your world starts to shift. We live in a culture obsessed with comfort, ease, and avoiding hardship, but fulfillment doesn't come from chasing pleasure. It comes from picking up responsibility, real, weighty responsibility, and carrying it with strength. You want meaning, you want purpose. Find the heaviest burden you can genuinely carry and shoulder it willingly. That could be raising a child with integrity. It could be building a business from scratch. It could be healing a broken relationship. Purpose doesn't just arrive, it is constructed through conscious suffering. The more responsibility you take on, the more structure you give to your existence, and without structure, your life becomes a spiral of chaos. Most people lie to themselves and others to avoid conflict, shame, or failure. But lies are the breeding ground of suffering. When you deny your own reality, when you say yes to things you hate, when you fake who you are to fit in, you corrupt your soul piece by piece. The path to order, clarity, and inner peace begins with truth. Brutal truth, speak it, live it, even when it costs you comfort, popularity, or ease. Truth is the weapon that cuts through chaos. It's what builds trust, respect, and resilience. But more than anything, truth brings you into alignment with your deepest self. And that's where real strength begins. Suffering is not something that might happen to you if things go wrong. It is something that will happen to you no matter what. That's the brutal truth no one wants to hear, but everyone needs to understand. Pain is not an exception to the rule of life, it is the rule. From the moment you are born, you are subject to loss, decay, disappointment, and death. Loved ones will die. You will fail at things that matter. You'll be misunderstood, betrayed, humiliated. That's the price of being alive. The question is, will you face this reality with courage, or will you let it break you? People waste so much energy being surprised that life is hard. They act like they've been wronged by the universe, like difficulty is a personal insult rather than an intrinsic part of existence. But expecting life to be easy is a setup for despair. It's like walking into a storm and getting angry that the wind is blowing. No, suffering is not a mistake. It's the test. It's the furnace where character is forged, and the only way to move forward is to accept that suffering is inevitable and decide that you will face it, not run from it. When you accept suffering as a fundamental part of life, something shifts. You stop waiting for things to be perfect before you start living. You stop postponing effort, growth, and discipline because you're waiting for the right moment. There is no perfect moment. There's just the pain that is here now and the strength you can build by facing it. Every day is going to demand something from you, and the truth is, pain doesn't care about your plans. It doesn't care about your comfort zone. But if you stand up and meet it head on, you'll find out that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. You don't overcome suffering by avoiding it, you overcome it by growing stronger than it. You build resilience by voluntarily stepping into discomfort, by lifting the weight you don't want to lift, by doing the thing you are afraid of. That's where confidence comes from, not from ease, not from pleasure, but from confronting what terrifies you and refusing to be defeated by it. If you want to live a meaningful life, you must stop asking for life to be easier. Instead, demand of yourself to become tougher, because life is suffering and only those who get their act together can withstand it. Before you can fix your life, your relationships, or the world around you, you have to start by addressing the simplest, most obvious place, your immediate environment. The chaos in your external world is often a direct reflection of the disorder in your internal one. And the simplest, most foundational action you can take is to begin cleaning up what is already in front of you. It might seem insignificant to make your bed, organize your desk, or sort out your schedule. But these basic acts of order are not trivial, they are symbolic, and they are powerful. They represent your willingness to take responsibility, no matter how small, and responsibility is the foundation of a meaningful life. People often look for grand solutions, complex strategies, or external circumstances to change before they decide to take action. They say, once I feel better, I'll get my life together, or once the situation improves, I'll be more disciplined. But this mindset is backward. You don't wait to feel better to act, you act so that you can feel better. Order produces clarity. Clarity produces motivation. Motivation produces momentum. And it all begins with choosing to bring structure to the disorganized corners of your life. If your house is a mess, your finances are a wreck, your habits are broken, and your time is slipping away, that is not just an accident. That is a signal. It's your life telling you that you're out of alignment. There is deep psychological meaning in cleaning your room, setting goals, and managing your time. You are creating a space where you can think clearly and live purposefully. It's a rebellion against chaos. It's a statement, I am not a victim of this disorder. I am someone who can restore order. That belief, even at a small scale, starts to expand. You begin to realize that if you can master the little things, perhaps you can take on more. Perhaps you can build something bigger, but it all begins with what's already in front of you. There is no shortcut, no hack, no magic formula. The path to transformation starts with humble actions and uncomfortable truths. You have to look at yourself honestly. Are you putting off what needs to be done? Are you blaming others while your own responsibilities lie unattended? Are you hoping someone will rescue you from the mess you refuse to clean up? Until you take full responsibility for the small areas of your life, you will never have the strength to take on anything larger. Order starts at home, and until you get that right, nothing else will ever truly fall into place. You cannot build a meaningful life on a foundation of avoidance, weakness, or ease. The path to purpose is not paved with comfort, it is forged through responsibility. The weight you willingly choose to carry becomes the very thing that strengthens your back, sharpens your mind, and awakens your soul. We often think that we want freedom from stress, from obligation, from burden. But what we really crave is meaning, and meaning doesn't come from escaping pressure. It comes from walking directly into it, with your head held high, and saying, I'll take this on. That is the moment when your life begins to have depth. Carrying a heavy load is not a curse, it is a calling. The most fulfilled people are not those who sit on the sidelines avoiding risk. They are the ones who shoulder real burdens, who raise families with integrity, who serve others, who lead with courage, who build something that matters and bleed for it. You cannot fake this. You cannot outsource this. No one else can carry your burden for you, and the irony is the more responsibility you accept, the more alive you become. Responsibility roots you. It grounds you in something beyond yourself. It says, I matter not because I'm perfect, but because I'm willing to try. The culture around you tells you to make things easier, to outsource struggle, to avoid pain, but when you avoid challenge, you avoid growth. When you run from difficulty, you become fragile, and a fragile life, though it may be safe, is also shallow and easily shattered. To be strong is to be willing to struggle for something greater than your own comfort. It is to voluntarily carry what is heavy not because you are forced to, but because you've chosen to, and in choosing that, you transform your suffering into strength. You convert chaos into meaning. Start where you are. What burden in your life have you been avoiding? What responsibility have you been pretending doesn't belong to you? Maybe it's taking care of your health. Maybe it's stepping up in your family. Maybe it's pursuing that difficult path you know you were meant for. Whatever it is, pick it up. No matter how heavy it feels, carrying that weight will make you who you were meant to be. You'll fall, you'll struggle, but in that struggle, you'll find something more valuable than ease. You'll find meaning, purpose, and power, and that will sustain you far beyond anything comfort ever could. Truth is the cornerstone of a stable and meaningful life. Without it, everything you build, your relationships, your ambitions, your sense of self, rests on a shaky foundation destined to collapse. Most people lie, not because they are evil, but because they are afraid. Afraid of confrontation, afraid of failure, afraid of being exposed, so they lie to others, and worse, they lie to themselves. They say they're fine when they're not. They say they care when they don't. They act like something doesn't bother them when it's eating them alive. This quiet betrayal, repeated over time, erodes your strength from the inside out. You cannot live with conviction if your life is built on falsehoods. It takes incredible courage to tell the truth, especially when the truth is painful. It might cost you approval, it might invite rejection, it might reveal something you've been hiding from yourself. But if you want a life that has depth, dignity, and real power, you must commit to truth as a way of being. You must speak truth even when it trembles in your throat. You must live truth even when it demands sacrifice. And you must seek truth even when it shows you things you'd rather not see. Because only the truth can orient you properly in a world that is full of confusion and chaos. When you lie, you don't just manipulate reality, you become lost in it. Lies tangle your identity. You say what others want to hear instead of what your soul knows is right. You start to wear masks so often that eventually you forget who you were underneath. But truth has the opposite effect. Truth brings clarity, it simplifies, it strips away the noise and reveals what matters. And when you start speaking truthfully, your relationships change. Some will fall away, yes, but the ones that remain will be rooted in respect and honesty, not performance or fear. Telling the truth also means holding yourself accountable. No more excuses, no more blaming your past, your parents, or your environment. You begin to see clearly what's broken and what must be done to fix it. This is not easy, but it is necessary, because the moment you commit to living with truth, you stop being a victim of life's suffering and start becoming its master. You stand firmly in who you are, even when it costs you. That's the beginning of strength. That's the first real step toward getting your act together. Without truth, you are just drifting. With truth, you are finally steering your own ship, no matter how rough the waters. The truth is, life is suffering. That's not a pessimistic outlook, it's a fact. But once you face that fact, you're no longer blindsided by it. You stop pretending that life is supposed to be easy, and instead you start asking yourself a deeper question: what can I do despite the pain? That shift in mindset is the beginning of transformation. Suffering, no matter how brutal, is not your enemy, it is your training ground. When you stop resisting the reality of pain and begin to rise up in response to it, you move from being a victim of life to being an architect of it. Life is going to hurt anyway. You may as well become someone who is strong enough to carry the weight and lead others through it. It begins not with grand gestures or revolutionary changes, but with a brutally honest look at your own life. What are you avoiding? What is out of order? Where are you pointing fingers instead of taking ownership? Cleaning up your room, fixing your schedule, honoring your commitments. These are not meaningless chores. They are symbolic acts of defiance against chaos. Each step toward order is a vote for the person you want to become. If you can bring discipline and structure to the smallest areas of your life, you're already learning to face chaos with strength and clarity. And once you prove to yourself that you can manage your own space, you'll realize that you're capable of managing much more. But even deeper than cleaning up is the act of carrying real responsibility. The more weight you voluntarily carry, the more meaningful your life becomes. People think meaning is found by chasing pleasure or escaping pain, but true fulfillment is discovered when you stand up and say, "This matters, and I'm willing to carry it." That burden could be your family, your community, your purpose, your past, whatever it is. When you carry it with dignity, it gives shape to your suffering and turns it into something powerful. It gives your pain a direction. And in a world filled with chaos and confusion, direction is everything. All of this, however, will crumble if it's not rooted in truth. You must be honest not just with others, but with yourself. Lies might buy you temporary comfort, but they always cost you long-term integrity. Speaking the truth is an act of courage that cuts through the fog. It reveals who you are and what you must do. It's the tool that sharpens your character and builds unshakable confidence. When you live by the truth, accept the weight of responsibility, bring order to your world, and embrace suffering as your path, you stop waiting for life to get easier. Instead, you become stronger. You stop drifting and you start building a life worth living, no matter how hard it gets. That's what it means to get your act together, and that's the kind of person the world desperately needs. Thank you so much for watching this video. If these words sparked something in you, a realization, a challenge, a wake-up call, then don't let that fire die out. Take what you've heard, reflect deeply, and act on it. Remember, life isn't waiting for you to be ready. The time to get your act together is now. If you found value in this message, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Your support means more than you know, and it helps us keep creating powerful content like this. Drop a comment below and let us know how this message spoke to you, what burden you're ready to carry, or how you're bringing order to your life. Let's build a community that pushes each other forward, one step at a time. Until next time, keep going, stay strong, and never forget. The suffering doesn't define you, but how you respond to it does. Thank you again. Take care and goodbye.